Welcome back. Every Thursday right here on Newsnight at 9, we go in depth talking with the Oklahoma City Police Chief Wade Gourley.
This week, we are chatting with the chief about his department's street racing bust that led to more than 100 arrests. Here's Lisa Monahan.
We are checking in with Oklahoma City Police Chief Wade Gourley this morning to answer your questions. But first, we want to talk about street racing. You guys had a big bust in southeast Oklahoma City in early June. Hundreds of arrests. Talk a little bit about how that operation went down.
So what happened was we got complaints from business owners in that area. They were seeing property damage and destruction from these street racers coming in and taking over their parking lots and doing burnouts and things and causing a lot of damage. And so once we got that complaint, we started looking at how we could set up to make an apprehension if they did reappear, and we were able to coordinate with those business owners to have officers on the property, and when the street racers showed up, we were able to enclose the area and prevent them from leaving and make all the arrests and impound the vehicles.
Really, there are a lot of movies, Fast and Furious first come to mind, that sort of glorify street racing, but there are a lot of problems associated with this sort of behavior. What are some of those problems?
Well, the biggest thing, when you look at a movie, obviously that's a closed set, it's controlled, you know, the drama and all that looks really good. Most places that allow this type of thing to occur, they're like old racetracks or old industrial areas that are designated for that. When you start doing this in residential areas or business areas and causing property damage, it has an expensive toll, but then also too, it's very unsafe. There's too much traffic in the metro. It's not a deal anymore. We're used to, you know, late at night, you may not see a lot of traffic on the roads. Oklahoma City is really growing and there's a lot more traffic, and it makes it much more dangerous to do this on a city street.
And if you see, or sometimes I've heard, if you hear this type of activity, what should you do?
Call 911, you know, we'll respond. Oklahoma City has a new ordinance that was just passed recently that allows us to impound vehicles that are involved in this. It incurs a very big expense on the owners. It's difficult to get the car back, and it's been very effective in sending a message that this won't be tolerated. And I think that's a big part of this is people look at this a lot of times as, you know, these are just kids having fun, and it's not. We've recovered firearms that were involved in homicides, and we've actually identified individuals that were involved in serious crimes that are involved in these street takeover type events. And we've also had officers injured as a result. We've had officers assaulted that are responding and try to stop these from happening. So these are criminal element that we need to take off the streets, and we want our residents to call us if they see this going on.
It will be costly to you if you do this sort of thing. Is it a misdemeanor or felony moving forward? It
depends on the actual street racing charges themselves are misdemeanors, but if you're involved in an accident, if you flee from the police, it could be a felony. And it also depends on the type of behavior. Like sometimes the firearms are illegal themselves, and that could be a felony. We've had stolen firearms that we've recovered. So it just depends. The actual, you know, usually the crime itself is a misdemeanor, just depending on what actually that they're doing, but it can rise to a felony.
Bottom line, don't do it. Find a local racetrack.
There you go. Stay off the city streets and local business parking lots.
Chief, thanks so much for being with us this morning. We appreciate it. If you have a question for the Chief, send us an email at chatwiththechief@griffin.news. We'll see you next week.